Oh yeah, is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news? Wow. Today we got a good one today as we're talking about, does the Star Wars fandom need to be fixed? Or is it just a small minority of people yelling louder than everybody else? We're going to talk about all this, what the future of Star Wars holds with one Star Wars live-action Disney Plus show per year, like we talked about on Thursday, and what's going on with Ahsoka Season 2 and Andor Season 2, and of course the Skeleton Crew. And in 6 days, we have the next Star Wars project as it is LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, Star Wars' What If series. So, without further ado, let's dive into all of this. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? It's the weekend, Star Wars fans, and there's nothing better to do than to have some fun, nerdy Star Wars talk. Huh? Is there anything better? Is there anything better? And today we're going to be taking on the challenge of talking about the Star Wars fandom without angering the entire Star Wars fandom. So today we're going to try it. We're going to try it, and we're going to try, hopefully, in a successful way. Does the Star Wars fandom need to be fixed, quote unquote, or are we just okay the way we are? Okay, we got a crazy stream coming today, so let's, without further ado, dive into all of this and say hi to everybody in the chat. First things first, let's do that, shall we? Let's do that. Amanda, what's up? Human, what's up? Another Mike who loves Star Wars. That is the greatest name ever. What is up? Skywalker Academy, how we doing? Noah, what is up? Starship 66 in the house. Fearless, what is up? Chris, how we doing? Thomas, what is up? Mando United, what is up? Nathan, how we doing? Jedi Geek, what is up? Did I get everybody? Dustin Kennedy, how we doing? B-Man in the house. Austin, what is up? Sombra, how we doing? Chronic, what is up? Brandon Baker, how we doing?
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
All right, let's dive into all this, shall we? We got a crazy article coming today, and that comes from Screen Rant. And the title of this article is "The Star Wars Fandom's Biggest Problem Has Nothing to Do with Disney." Okay? Now, first things first, this is not my article. So all the words I'm about to read to you here are not all what I believe, but we are going to talk about it in a civilized manner in the chat about, does the Star Wars fandom need fixing, and is there a true problem, actual problem, that needs to be addressed in the Star Wars fandom? Because the Acolyte is one thing, but moving forward, is the same going to happen to Skeleton Crew? Is the same going to happen to Andor Season 2? Is the same going to happen to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Only time will tell. But let's read this article, shall we? Von Go, what's up? Shadow King, how are you? King Shadow, how we doing? What's up? Oh, Darth Plagueis lives with the super chat. Okay, starting off the stream right. I like it. Third ever super chat. What's up? Says Star Wars is an escape from the real world. You're not wrong. Darth Plagueis with the words of wisdom and the very generous $2 super chat. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says Star Wars is an escape from the real world. It really is. And the problem has become that Star Wars is so good that Star Wars fans love it so much that they hold it so near and dear to their hearts that they want to fight other people online because they love the world of Star Wars so much. That's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But you are absolutely right, Darth Plagueis. I appreciate the $2 holla. I really, really do. Super chats keep the lights on over here. Star Wars should be and is an escape from our real world. That's what this channel is all about. That's what this whole conversation we're going to be having today is all about. This is an escape from the real world. We're not coming to Star Wars to have more anxiety, have more stress, have more arguments in our lives. This is the exact opposite. We're here to love Star Wars. We're here to We are here to celebrate Star Wars. That's why every year they have a Star Wars celebration, because Star Wars is an escape from our real world. Couldn't have said it better myself, Darth Plagueis. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Memberships, super chats, you know the deal. They help tremendously. So let's read this article, shall we? Let's read this article, shall we? Trigger warnings on, ladies and gentlemen. This might trigger many people, hopefully not too much, but we're going to read it and we're going to break it down. Okay? Okay. Okay, okay. Okay? Okay, okay, okay. Now, without further ado, actually, wait. Before we even read this article, I wanted to put up a poll in the chat. Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we do that? Okay. If you haven't yet, smash a freaking like on the stream. How many likes do we even have right now? What are we looking at, chat? What are we even looking at? Okay. Let's put up a new poll. Do you think the Star Wars fandom needs to be quote unquote fixed? Question mark. Yes or no? Does the Star Wars fandom need to actually be fixed? Quote unquote. And now let's read this article, shall we? Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. Go over there. Go over there. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, let's get into this. So obviously, in the top of this article, they have The Last Jedi and The Acolyte, two of the most divisive Star Wars projects over the last decade, and that's clear. But let's read this, shall we? Let's move it over a little bit so my head's not in the way. Perfect. Okay. The problems within the Star Wars fandom go far beyond mere criticism of Disney's output. There's no denying that Star Wars has, to a certain extent, faltered since Disney first took over reins in 2012 when George Lucas sold it to them. Though some of Disney's earliest Star Wars productions, like Star Wars Rebels, which premiered in 2015's Star Wars The Force Awakens, and 2016's Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, reinvigorated the franchise, both in live action and in animation. The real problem started with the release of The Last Jedi in 2017 and Solo, A Star Wars Story in 2018. Suddenly, Disney was dealing with an incredibly divided audience in the first ever box office failure. In the cinematic branch of the franchise still hadn't fully recovered. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker proved even more divisive, and many announced projects were subsequently canceled, and the writers and other creatives clashing with Lucasfilm's higher-ups. So this was more so like Rogue Squadron, Rian Johnson's trilogy. This is what we're talking about, this 2019 sort of era of things getting canceled after the sort of divide of the fandom with the back half of that sequel trilogy with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and Solo was thrown in there too because it didn't make a lot of money. But yes, through the advent of Disney Plus and the release of The Mandalorian gave Star Wars a much needed win. Much needed win with The Mandalorian, and something substantial to build on. The damage had already been done. The fandom had already been divided since 2017, and it doesn't look like they would ever recover anytime soon. In fact, it only became worse. So this article is indicating that the Star Wars fandom split began in 2017 with The Last Jedi. I could not disagree with this more. Absolutely could not disagree with this more. The Star Wars fandom has been divided almost since day one. Really, the probably biggest divide was the Ewoks to start, and that came in Return of the Jedi in 1983. You were either too old and thought it was stupid that these teddy bears saved the galaxy, or you were the perfect age because Star Wars was made for you, and you were like, let's go, teddy bears saving the galaxy, Ewoks are awesome, they're so cute, blah, 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 blah. Then the prequel trilogy comes around 16 years later, and the divide grew even greater because the people who loved the original trilogy, grew up on the original trilogy, thought that this wasn't their Star Wars, thought this was crazy different and didn't like it at all. It wasn't a replay, a remake of the original trilogy. So the divide continued. So saying that the divide started in 2017, it's just not the case. The divide in the Star Wars fandom has been around for quite some time. When you have a massive IP like Star Wars, this massive universe with billions of fans, you're going to have fans that disagree, and that disagreement has grown stronger and stronger and stronger. But let's keep reading. Okay. The Star Wars fandom has a problem with negativity. Now this is something I can get behind. Okay. Nowadays, it seems Star Wars can't win with anything. The fandom is fractured beyond repair. Now, we'll talk about this in a second. Is it beyond repair? Is this true that there's no possible way that we could see a united Star Wars fandom again? We'll get to it in a second. Some wish that Disney had simply continued the expanded universe, known now as Star Wars Legends, rather than picking and choosing certain elements from those novels for new stories. Some people saying that the extended universe, or EU, is their canon, and not seeing anything Disney Star Wars as canon. Many, though, not all, of these audience members have defenders of George Lucas Star Wars. A lot of fans nowadays, or some fans I should say nowadays, do see a lot of just Star Wars content, whether it's canon or not, is only if George Lucas created it. These are the George Lucas stans. These are the people who only see Star Wars as if George Lucas created it with his own two hands. It's not a bad way to live, honestly. Often, where was I? Oh, these viewers clash with those who generally enjoy Disney Star Wars output, who have seen themselves reflected in new characters and joined the fandom because of something that Disney has produced rather than George Lucas. We're coming up on year number 12, 13 since Disney has taken over, and there has been some extraordinary Star Wars projects, from Rogue One to The Mandalorian to Ahsoka to Rebels to Bad Batch to Andor. Like, there's a ton of really, really good stuff for Star Wars if you're a Star Wars fan. But there's a lot of fans that don't see anything that Disney has created as Star Wars. Let's keep reading. There are also those, of course, who genuinely want Star Wars to try something new and fresh, and are frustrated by the interconnected and repetitive nature of projects like the Mandoverse. So this is another problem. So they're just pointing out all different problems from different sections of the Star Wars fandom. Some sections only see George Lucas's canon as canon. Some sections think the extended universe is canon. Some sections think that there's just too much repetitive storytelling going on, from rehashing Kenobi to rehashing more stories with Luke Skywalker to just wanting to see something new. And that's sort of what the Acolyte was. But that's besides the point. Okay. Will these three sides ever see eye to eye? It's very, very unlikely. But even though it's unlikely, is it possible that all these different sections of a Star Wars fandom can exist as one? Well, currently they are. But can it remain that way? And the reactions to and subsequent cancellation of The Acolyte is an illustrative, albeit unfortunate, example of everything wrong within the Star Wars fandom nowadays. So when people ask, Mike, why is everybody still talking about The Acolyte being canceled? It's been a month almost now. Yeah, it's almost been a month now since The Acolyte was canceled. Why is everybody still talking about it? Well, that's a great question. And there's a few different reasons. One, there's a portion of the Star Wars fandom that really enjoyed the show and want more of those characters. Two, there's a portion of the Star Wars fandom that really hated that show and will do anything to not ever see it come back again. And three, it is the perfect example of where the Star Wars fandom is today, completely divided. So for the last month, the major headlines have still been about The Acolyte, even though it's been canceled, because this entire process of The Acolyte, from its announcement to its release to its cancellation, is the perfect microcosm of what's going on in the Star Wars fandom right now. It's the perfect example of it. It's been going around for decades, but this particular project with The Acolyte is the perfect example of what's going on in the Star Wars fandom. Sides fighting against each other, whether one side is wrong or not, is completely out of the equation. It's fully opinionated. Whether you like The Acolyte or not is your opinion. It's still the divide in the Star Wars fandom that is the problem. And that's why this Acolyte show keeps getting brought up over and over and over again over the last month, even though it's already been canceled. So I'm not going to sit here and go, we should get The Acolyte renewed, even though I want it to be. I'm not going to sit here and just cry about it day after day after day, because I it's not really going to do anything. I've signed the petition to get the hashtag renew the Acolyte. I've posted plenty about it on X, formerly known as Twitter. But here, we're going to come to reality. The reality is it's very unlikely. There is a possibility, but it's very unlikely that the Acolyte will get a second season, even though Manny Jacinto has made it his lifelong goal to do that. But it's very unlikely. It's just the example of the Acolyte is the perfect example for what's going on in the Star Wars fandom right now and how that needs to be fixed. Let's keep reading. Okay. The show was review bombed before it even came out. Now, we've talked about this to a drastic extent where it had a 13%. 13% before the first episode even released on Rotten Tomatoes. That's just not even giving the show a chance. Whether you like the show or not, clearly you hadn't even seen it yet, and you made up your own mind. Okay. A regrettable but predictable result of the series' Ernest's efforts to be inclusive and diverse. And many of those same review bombers celebrated its demise when it was officially canceled. So the same people that review bombed it before it came out were throwing parties pretty much after it was canceled. Those who had actual storytelling-related criticisms were drowned out by the raging negativity of those who genuinely enjoyed the series for what it was, were made fun of and even harassed when they expressed their sorrow over the failure of it to be renewed. So this is where the problem comes in. People who had actual critiques of the show, whether it was the storytelling or the acting or actual criticisms for the Acolyte series, they were just completely shut down and thrown away. If you came into the chat and were like, Mike, I didn't like the acting, I didn't like the writing of the show, I wasn't going to tell you you're wrong. I was just going to tell you that I enjoyed the acting in this show. I enjoyed the writing. That's perfectly fine. You can dislike it, I can like it, and we can live a pleasant, civilized lives together and enjoy our own company and talk Star Wars still. The problem became when people started yelling and harassing each other online for whether or not they liked it or not. And it went both ways. It definitely went both ways. People who didn't like the show, calling people stupid for liking it, telling them they're not true Star Wars fans, and it went the exact opposite way too. People who really like the show, telling people they're dumb if they don't like it, telling them that they're not open to new ideas if they don't like it. It went both ways, for sure. But the people in the middle, the level-headed people, which I think this chat is full of today, were drowned out of the equation. They were completely neglected. Whether you had a actual real criticism for the show or you actually enjoyed the show for a real reason, you were drowned out. This conversation has become two extremes on either side. And the people in the middle have just been neglected. Let's keep reading. This says George Lucas himself once ruined Star Wars 2 when he produced this prequel trilogy. Oh, they are going to talk about the prequel trilogy. Okay, here we go. Disney has reportedly claimed that The Acolyte was canceled due to the low viewership, and while this may well be a part of it, this choice also set Disney on a precarious path. The Acolyte was the first live-action Disney Plus show to try something wholly disconnected from the New Republic era and the Skywalker saga. So this was the first time ever we left the Skywalker saga and it got canceled immediately and got review bombed immediately. But going to the first part of this, yes, absolutely. The Acolyte, by the finale, was the lowest viewed finale of any Star Wars live action show. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It did start a lot better. The premiere was very close to Ahsoka's numbers as well. But it was just a constant hatred online, the war going on online, and just people either not enjoying the show or not wanting to watch the show because, again, they're getting shit on online. That just week after week after week, the views just dropped. They just dropped drastically to make it the lowest viewed finale of any live-action Star Wars Disney Plus show. So yes, the low viewership number definitely had played a part in the Acolyte not getting a second season. But look at it this way. There's 2 other Star Wars projects that haven't been greenlit for a second season. That is the Book of Boba Fett and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, both of which could technically get a second season still. neither of which were canceled. Never once was the word canceled used around the Book of Boba Fett or the Kenobi show. The only difference with The Acolyte is it actually got canceled. And that means that one side felt as though they won, the people who didn't like The Acolyte show, and one side felt as though they lost, people who did like The Acolyte show. And that's when you make the divide in the Star Wars fandom even worse. Because whether you like the Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi or not, it wasn't canceled, and it also wasn't greenlit for a second season. There's always the possibility it could get a second season, but it wasn't canceled. The Acolyte was. And that's the big difference here. That is the big difference here. So let's keep reading, shall we? Where was I? Oh, here we go. Before it was canceled, it proved that Disney wasn't afraid of trying something new. Now, it's hard to tell. The Acolyte was the first thing outside the Skywalker saga. It got canceled immediately. Is this a sign to Disney from the audience, from the fandom, that we don't want anything outside the Skywalker saga? Their first attempt was clearly a miss, and everything else hasn't. The Mandalorian has thrown in key ingredients when it comes to a Skywalker saga thing. Luke Skywalker's in the finale of season 2. He's in the Book of Boba Fett, and there's references to, I guess that was in Ahsoka. I was going to say Leia Organa, but that's in Ahsoka. Either way, the Mandoverse does connect to the legacy characters of the Skywalker saga. Boba Fett, Bib Fortuna, of course, is in the Book of Boba Fett as well. But it's just a bunch of references, and it exists inside the Skywalker saga. So it's references to the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and sequel trilogy. Now that they left that with the Acolyte, it didn't go very well. It's not a good sign for Star Wars fans who want something new and want something outside of the Skywalker saga. It's hard to tell. Has the fandom's overt negativity affected Disney's decision making here? Well, absolutely. This is 100% a fact. The Star Wars fandom's negativity clearly made Disney make a decision. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The company's silence after the cancellation was announced certainly makes it seem so, especially after any major outlet publicly lamented major outlets publicly lamented the decision. Yeah, so Disney Lucasfilm never said a word about this. Technically, they still haven't said whether or not it's canceled or not. But it seems as though it is. I mean, it's been a month since this whole thing went kaboom. And clearly Disney, if they're paying attention, has noticed that it's been canceled. And they haven't really said anything about it. There's this idea amongst the loudest and angriest parts of the Star Wars fandom online that nothing will ever be able to surpass George Lucas's Star Wars. And so anything that even attempts to tell a story within the same universe is inherently unworthy of the franchise's name, even before it's been released. So this is the problem. If anything ever that's released by Disney Star Wars is not technically truly Star Wars to this portion of the Star Wars fandom, then when does this end? In 6 days, Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is going to come out. I don't think this project's going to be crapped on much because it's a Lego Star Wars thing. It's not canon to Star Wars. But a few months from now, Skeleton Crew releases. Next year, Andor Season 2 comes out. Ahsoka Season 2 following that. Are these shows just going to continually get absolutely destroyed online week in and week out in between each episode's release because there's just a portion of the Star Wars fandom that doesn't see anything that Disney releases as true Star Wars? Because that's a massive issue we're going to be having because all these people have a voice online. The internet has allowed Star Wars fans to not only interact with each other and enjoy Star Wars with each other, but it's also allowed Star Wars fans to voice their opinions, and sometimes those opinions are very, very negative and very, very hostile. And if Skeleton Crew, Andor Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2 are all met with the same adversity, the same negativity online week in and week out that the Acolyte was, then we're going to be in for a huge problem. Let's keep reading. Shit, where was I? I keep losing my spot here. Poop. Oh, here we go. There's nothing wrong with being a George Lucas Star Wars fan. Clearly, George Lucas is the creator. He's the guy who brought us all here today. He is the mastermind behind creating the Star Wars universe. There is nothing bad I could say about George Lucas. Ever. He is the GOAT. He is the absolute GOAT. But here's the concern. But these same people seem to keep forgetting that George Lucas himself once ruined Star Wars, ruined being in quotations, when he produced the prequel trilogy. Can this cycle of hate ever be broken? Like we just mentioned before, the prequel trilogy released in 1999 and was met with a massive divide in the Star Wars fandom, followed by Attack of the Clones and followed by Revenge of the Sith. All three movies were huge in the box offices, but they also divided the Star Wars fandom drastically. It's the same story as the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy movies made billions upon billions of dollars, but they all divided the Star Wars fandom. Some more than others. Force Awakens didn't, it did, but not as much as like The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker. But the prequel trilogy did the exact same thing. People online bullying Ahmed Best, bullying Jake Lloyd for his performance as Anakin Skywalker as a little kid. This isn't something new. It's not. But can the cycle of hate ever stop? That's the big question. Will this ever end? Let's find out. Star Wars has already taught us how to respond to this. How do us Star Wars fans, who seemingly have level heads, I don't know, maybe there's some crazy people in our chat today, seemingly we have some level heads in the chat. How do we respond to this? How do we go on being Star Wars fans with all this hate around the fandom? Let's find out. Star Wars seemingly has already taught us the answer. This now unavoidable negativity within the Star Wars fandom is especially painful considering the core theme of George Lucas's original Star Wars story and every single Star Wars narrative produced since then has been about the exact opposite. Star Wars is a tale of hope triumphing over evil, facing your fear and standing up for what is right in the face of direct oppression and adversity. Bullying and harassment has no place in Star Wars and shouldn't have a place in the fandom space either. This could not have been better. I could not have said this better myself. I can't even say the words. Could not have said this better myself. This paragraph right here is really the answer. It's the solution. It's how you fix the Star Wars fandom, I guess. If this message got out to every Star Wars fan, the billions upon billions of Star Wars fans out there, then maybe it would make a change. Maybe it would make some people look at themselves in the mirror and go, oh shit, I'm an idiot. Or, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe next time I type that message saying you're a fucking idiot because you don't know what true Star Wars is, maybe I'll think twice about it. Maybe I'll think twice about pressing send. Maybe I'll think twice about bullying somebody online for whether they like or dislike a certain Star Wars show. Let's read it again, shall we? This now unavoidable negativity within the Star Wars fandom is especially painful considering the core themes of George Lucas's original Star Wars story and every single Star Wars narrative produced since. Star Wars is a tale of hope triumphing over evil, facing your fears and standing up for what is right in the face of direct oppression and adversity. Bullying and harassment have no place in Star Wars and shouldn't have a place in the Star Wars fandom space either. Period. End of sentence. So whether you like the Acolyte or not, whether you like The Last Jedi or not, whether you like Revenge of the Sith or not, The Phantom Menace or not, freaking A New Hope or not, Rebels or not, Clone Wars or not, The Mandalorian or not, Andor or not, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. This is Star Wars. This is the Star Wars fandom we live in. There are certain projects you're going to like. There's certain projects you aren't going to like. I don't like every Star Wars project that has ever come out. I haven't even watched Resistance. I haven't even watched it. I'm not a big fan of Visions either. The Last Jedi is not my favorite Star Wars movie. But here I am, a massive Star Wars fan. And I'm not going to crap on you if you like The Last Jedi. I'm not going to crap on you if you like Star Wars Resistance. I'm not going to crap on you for anything. Because guess what? Star Wars is literally teaching us the way to be a Star Wars fan through every single project that has ever been released from the name of Lucasfilm or Star Wars or whatever you want to call it. It's hope. It's fear. It's standing up for what is right. It's not bullying, not harassing others. It's clearly right in front of our stupid faces. And we're not seeing it? I don't understand. The answer is right here. The answer is right here. I'm going to read it a third time. You know what? I'm going to read it a third time. Shall we? There's now unavoidable negativity within the Star Wars fandom is especially painful considering the core themes of George Lucas's, not Disney, George Lucas's original Star Wars story and every Star Wars story since. Star Wars is a tale of hope triumphing over evil, facing your fears and standing up for what is right in the face of oppression and adversity. Bullying and harassment have no place in Star Wars and definitely should not have any place in the Star Wars fandom. Let's keep reading, shall we? Arguably, considering what Star Wars stands for, Disney and Lucasfilm should be more steadfast in their convictions, okay? If, as seems to be the case with The Acolyte, was canceled in part due to the crusade against it, what does that say about these companies? How can audiences and the creatives and actors involved with these shows trust that their actions, words, and stories won't be twisted to be used against them? This comes to the conversation we kind of started on Thursday's live stream. Lucasfilm being silent is now becoming an issue. Them not saying anything is now an issue because these actors and actresses and people who worked on the shows are feeling unheard. They're feeling hurt because the project they worked so hard on and some fans really, really enjoyed is now gone forever. Think about it from the point of view of Manny Jacinto, or at least any real actress or actor on The Acolyte. It was their biggest role of their lives. Maybe not for like Carrie-Anne Moss, who's of course been a very big actress in Hollywood for a long time. But for almost all the other cast members, it is their biggest role of their lives. And Manny Jacinto's lifelong goal now is to make season 2 happen. He doesn't want this to stop. You know? Let's keep reading. We need to stop pitting Star Wars against itself. There should always be space for people to explain why they didn't agree with or simply even enjoy a show. This should always be the case. If you want to voice your opinion on why you didn't like The Acolyte or didn't like The Mandalorian or didn't like anything, you should be able to do so without feeling like you're being attacked. Or the opposite way, whether you like the show or not. So if you like The Acolyte or like The Mandalorian or like The Last Jedi, you should be able to voice your opinion without feeling attacked. And you should be able to voice your opinion without attacking somebody else, too. That's not that hard to do either. Okay. But these criticisms should be made in good faith, with understanding of the viewpoint of people who may disagree with you. So if you don't like The Acolyte, understanding why some people might like it, or understanding that you might like a project that they don't like, and understanding that that's okay. The pacing of Star Wars The Acolyte didn't always work for me, for instance. 2 whole flashbacks episodes took too much time away from the present storyline. Additionally, I believe that Disney and Lucasfilm needs to stop restricting their original shows to 6 to 8 episodes. Not all stories are meant to be told in that way, and they need to be, and that needs to be recognized. Well, that is true, but they do have certain cases like Andor is 12 episodes too. Yeah. By the way, this petition's almost at 70,000 signatures now. This article was yesterday, I think, but it's almost at 70 now. My issue with The Acolyte has nothing to do with the actual actors or the writing of the show or directors behind the show. However, that's where the discussion moves too far away from common, understandable criticisms and becoming heated, charged, and often prejudiced. Sure. It's a vicious cycle, one that is hard to break. If Star Wars handles its future cancellations in the way it handled the Acolyte's cancellations, however, the cycle of negativity will never be broken, and it will just continue to fester. So, with all of that being said, all of it being said, does the Star Wars fandom need to be fixed? What do we think, chat? What do we think? There is 77% of you in the chat right now that say yes. And I must say, I know many of you guys in the chat, some of you personally, some of you more than others, but I know a lot of you, and you are very nice individuals, I will put it that way. And you are very open-minded people too. People who won't, and I'm saying this with a broad stroke, most of you will not go after somebody else for not liking or liking a certain Star Wars project. And that's how I think the majority of the Star Wars fandom should be. But with that being said, those of you who I just said are very open-minded people still believe that there should be a fix to the Star Wars fandom. I gotta agree. I gotta agree. And I don't know how you do it, because there's pretty much no way to get to every single Star Wars fan at the same time. It's impossible. And even if you did, most of them would see where it's coming from and maybe not trust the source. Here's the thing. I know for a fact that there's a lot of people online that don't like me. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm not here to please everybody. That's for damn sure. I'm just here to enjoy Star Wars. But if I were to be the one who were to just go to every Star Wars fan out there and go, look, we got to be nice to each other. Like, this is, at the end of the day, even if you don't like a certain project, you got to be nice to each other. This is what Star Wars is trying to teach us, is to be nice to each other, is to have standing up to oppression and adversity and bullying and harassing. That's the exact story that George Lucas was trying to tell us. That's the exact story that Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, all of them are trying to tell us right now. But if I were the one telling people that, there's some fans that would be like, oh, Mike, he's a fucking idiot. We don't want to listen to that guy. Same could be said about anybody, really. I think the problem becomes a lot of Star Wars fans, or I shouldn't say a lot of, some Star Wars fans, they only want to listen to themselves. And it's hard to get through to them. You know? So my question to you, chat, and it's a really difficult one, is how? How do you, quote unquote, fix the Star Wars fandom? Or is there a fix? That's the question. That's the question, chat, and I need answers. I need answers now! Immediately! I saw somebody actually make a really funny comment the other day about me. It was really funny. And it was about how me yelling during my streams makes them not like me. So from here on out, I'm going to talk at a very low register. I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to be nice and quiet. And we might even turn this stream into a ASMR thing, you know? Because people don't like it when I get loud. It's like they've lost their goddamn minds.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna continue to yell. I apologize if it angers you, but it's usually just sarcasm, guys. Come on. Okay, Rose. Holy shit, Rose with a very generous $10. Holla God. Damn. Okay. With a very generous $10 holla says, do you think fans would listen if George Lucas or Mark Hamill or other beloved Star Wars actors collectively campaigned for a more civility, sure, for a more civil Star Wars fandom amongst the fans? By the way, it's time for a George Lucas impression. Oh no. A George Lucas impression. Okay, I can do that. Okay, but before I get to the George Lucas impression, first of all, Rose, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it quite a bit. And second of all, no, I don't think that would work. For a few reasons. One, George Lucas, this might sound crazy. There's a portion of the Star Wars fandom that doesn't like him. I know, right? Crazy. Yeah, you might think I sound crazy, but I'm actually telling the truth here. It's probably a really, really small portion of the Star Wars fandom. I certainly hope it is. But there are Star Wars fans that don't like the guy for a few different reasons. Some think that like the original trilogy was all just because of his ex-wife helping him like create it and all this other stuff. Like everybody thinks it's mostly people who don't like the prequel trilogy because they think that the prequel trilogy is just George Lucas's vision and they hate it. And they think that the original trilogy was just because of the other people working on it, like George Lucas's ex-wife, who were helping him create the original trilogy. But yeah, there's even still some people in the Star Wars fandom that don't like George Lucas. Crazy. Absolutely insane. I don't believe it at all, but that is the reality. Same can be said about Mark Hamill. There's a portion of the Star Wars fandom that really, really dislikes Mark Hamill, whether that's because of his political views or because of just the way he talks about characters that he loves. Think about this. Going into The Last Jedi, he was talking about how he fundamentally, easy for me to say, fundamentally disagrees with all the decisions that Rian Johnson were making with the character of Luke Skywalker. So right then and there, you have Star Wars fans that agree with him and say, yeah, I don't like the Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi. And you have fans who love The Last Jedi and say, what is Mark Hamill talking about? So honestly, Rose, that might sound like a good idea. And George Lucas is probably the guy who could do it if anybody could. But I don't think it would even work. I don't think it would. Because it would have to be George Lucas and co. It would have to be George Lucas and Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy. And right then and there, you are already having a portion of the Star Wars fandom going, they're just paying George Lucas to say this. They're just making George Lucas say this against his will. Like, it's not, it wouldn't work. But can we get a George Lucas impression? Oh, no. I can try. I can certainly try. George Lucas impression. I don't want to offend my goat like this, you know? All right, let's see. George Lucas interview. George Lucas interview. Here, this is him.
And actually deal directly.
This is him in 1979 editing Empire Strikes Back
with an audience. All the other times you're sort of generating material. Or
first things first, chat. Should I get the George Lucas look going? Should I get those glasses instead of the one I'm wearing? Should I wear the button down, like sort of plaid-ish looking shirt? Should I grow the beard? What do we think of chat? Should I go full George Lucas? Should I go full George Lucas? Might be a thought. Say it's like poetry, it rhymes. Okay, I'm gonna do my George Lucas impression saying it's like poetry, it rhymes, but I'm gonna have to get the impression out of this. Okay.
Supplies. It's like making a film is like buying lumber, or cutting.
This is tough.
Down trees and making wood out of it. Where editing is like actually constructing a house. I mean, you actually can see it, you can see what you're doing, and deal with it. Everybody says.
This is way more difficult than I thought it was gonna be. Oh, hang on.
Wood out of it. Where editing is like actually constructing a house. I mean, you actually can see it, you can see what you're.
Editing is like constructing a house. It's like poetry. It rhymes. That's not too bad. Hang on, let me try again.
Is like actually constructing a house. I mean, you actually can see it, you can see what you're doing, and deal with it. Everybody says, well, the script doesn't work, but we'll fix it later.
Everybody says, script doesn't work, but we'll fix it later. It's like poetry. It rhymes. It's a little bit, okay, it's a little bit off, but that's the best I got. I appreciate it, Rose. I really, really do. No offense to George Lucas if you're watching, and we know that you are. I could not emphasize that enough. You're the GOAT, so no offense to you. Rose made me do it, and it's Rose's fault. But I appreciate it, Rose. I really, really do. Okay. Let me scroll up a little bit here, and let me get back to these chats, shall we? Because you guys have been chatting it up, so let's do that, shall we? Nestor, what's up? Says, what's up? Tuning in from work. Wanted to say hello there. Well, I appreciate that, Nestor. I really, really do. Hello there to you at work. Matthew says, I didn't like the story for The Last Jedi, but the course corrected in The Rise of Skywalker. Wait, what? But the course correcting in The Rise of Skywalker was far worse. Okay, that is a very popular thing when it comes to the sequel trilogy. Many people think that The Last Jedi is not their favorite, but they think that because of what happens with The Rise of Skywalker, it makes it even worse because they tried to correct themselves. Yeah, the course correction that you're talking about, for sure. Oh, Lee with a very generous $5 holla. God damn, you guys are feeling generous today. I appreciate it. Says Mike, I have arrived. Nice. Hope you're doing well. Loving what you do. All right, I appreciate that. Can we please get your best Chopper impression? P.S. I love your shouting. Okay, well, I appreciate it, Lee. Chopper impression. I can try. Let's okay. Chopper in Ahsoka. Let's see.
Please, this way.
Lee, I appreciate it. I really do, But Chopper? Are you kidding me? How am I to make this noise with my mouth? Is my vocal cords supposed to make the noise of Chopper? It's probably created with the computer.
No, I did not go through your stuff.
All right, here's my impression of Chopper. There you go. That's my impression. You know why? Because I can't do it. I can't do it. Here, I'll do my impression of Chopper. You want me to do an impression of Chopper? There's your Chopper impression. Happy? Happy? I am. Okay. Do you guys notice something new in my background? You guys notice something new in the background today? Okay. I appreciate it. I really do. Dr. Necro says, there is no problem with the Star Wars fandom. The fan base is, maybe 300 million worldwide, possibly even more. Just because there's a few online people trading shots isn't indicative of the Star Wars fan base overall. That's generalization. Yes and no. Just because there are a lot of people, yes, in the Star Wars fandom, probably even more than 300 million if I were to guess. 300 million is the population of the United States. I'm sure there's a lot more than that when it comes to Star Wars fans. But I would say, you mentioned it being a few people online trading shots. It's a lot more than a few people. It's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. And yes, in the percentage of millions of people, that's a small percentage. But those are the people who are yelling loudest. Those are the people who successfully got The Acolyte canceled, successfully crapped on for weeks and weeks and weeks all these Disney Plus projects that came out, from Andor to Book of Beta Fett to whatever you want to call Ahsoka. What they were talking, they didn't really give it a nickname like they did with the other ones. But it's happened time and time and time again. So yes, it's just a probably very small minority when it comes to the Star Wars fandom as a whole. It's still people yelling louder than everybody else. I talk to hundreds, if not thousands of Star Wars fans probably not thousands. I talk to tens, if not hundreds of Star Wars fans every day. And the same conversation happens all the time. It's a positive one. It's a very happy conversation. It's people loving to talk about Star Wars. It's not what you hear or see online in the negative comment sections. So I would agree with you that the majority of the Star Wars fandom are more positive people, but it's still a problem because those negative people still exist in the same fandom that we do. Yeah. Yeah. Fearless says, The Acolyte has never officially been canceled by Lucasfilm or Disney, has it? No. Technically, no. But that's, yeah. Alex, what's up? Eric Dean, what's up, says, envy is when you are so upset that you didn't get what you wanted, and you're trying to stop everybody else from getting what they want as well. It's a major character flaw in people these days. Yeah. I mean, if you didn't like The Acolyte, that's one thing. But to go tell somebody who did that they're not a true Star Wars fan because they did, therein lies the problem. Or if you liked The Acolyte and somebody didn't like it, and you tell them that they're not a true Star Wars fan because they didn't like The Acolyte, therein lies the true problem. That's the problem in the Star Wars fandom. There's no denying it. It's there. Nobody in their right mind would be denying that that exists. It's more a question of how do you fix it? It's more of a question of what do we do as Star Wars fans? Are we just going to wait till every Star Wars show gets canceled? Every Star Wars project gets canceled? Is there no possibility for leaving the Skywalker saga ever? I don't know. Social media is not representative of the Star Wars fandom as a whole. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Doesn't change the fact that they're still out there. And doesn't change the fact that Lucasfilm and Disney, who are the ones creating Star Wars content, are looking at what they're saying and taking it into their consideration when they're making new Star Wars projects. Brandon says, unpopular opinion, but toxic Star Wars fans, hate the word toxic, who hate bomb everything. Oh, okay. Yes, Brandon, sure. Another Mike who loves Star Wars, love the name, says, Star Wars spans so many generations, and that's where the division, there will be division, at least in terms of, in order of the internet. I saw A New Hope in 77 when I was 11. The nostalgia is strong with the original trilogy for me as a result. Exactly. I mentioned this last stream, but there's so many Star Wars fans who got introduced to Star Wars at different times. Whether you were introduced in the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy or I just bit my tongue. Mother.
Incorrect.
Just when you thought you were having a good day, you go and bite your frickin' tongue. That's the worst. The worst. Okay, where was I? So people get introduced to Star Wars at different times, whether that was in the Clone Wars or in Rebels or in The Mandalorian or the prequel trilogy, whatever, at any different time, really. They could be introduced at any different time. But that means you're probably going to back up what you love the most, and that's usually where you're first introduced to Star Wars. So if you're introduced during the Clone Wars, you're probably going to hold the Clone Wars close in your heart, and anybody who comes after the Clone Wars, you're probably going to be pretty angry at. If somebody says the Clone Wars sucks, you're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? The Clone Wars is amazing. because it is, but it usually has that effect. So if you came in to Star Wars as a sequel trilogy fan, then you're probably going to hold the sequel trilogy near and dear to your heart, and anybody who comes after you for liking it, you're probably going to go after them too. And it's just going to continue over and over and over again. Yeah. Oh my God, Lee, with another $5 holla, feeling generous today, says, sorry, Mike. Oh, wait. So's Mike? I don't know what that means. Too good. Can we please get your best Jawa impression? Okay, I like that. P.S. Which do you dislike most? Toxic or moist? LOL. I know a lot of people don't like the word moist, and I just said it twice now, so I'm probably going to stop. Moist, moist, moist. No, I'm kidding. I know a lot of people don't like that word. I mean, doesn't, I don't care. I don't like the word toxic because of what it sort of means, you know? I don't see myself as a toxic Star Wars fan. I don't see really anybody as a toxic Star Wars fan just because the word is so moist, you know? But can I get a good Jawa impression? Okay. And you say do the Udini? Okay. Udini! No, that's terrible. They gotta be higher pitched. Udini! I can't go that high, guys. Come on. Udini! That's horrible. Udini! Udini! I can't do it. But I appreciate it, Lee. I really, really do. I don't know how they get their voices that high. Must not be a grown man under the mask. Where was I? Oh, MD says, keep doing what you're doing, Mike. We, the world, need some positive people online. Yeah, I mean, that was the goal of this channel, to create a positive environment for Star Wars fans. I feel as though we've succeeded thus far in that doing. We just hit 79,000 subscribers. Let's celebrate a little bit. 79,000. Round of applause for you guys. Round of applause for the channel. So that's a big marker, 79,000. And thus far, through almost 4 years of this channel and 79,000 subscribers, we've kept it positive for the most part. Yes, we've gone down our negative live stream holes of crapping on whatever or whatever. We've gone negative sometimes. We've had our moments of dark side seeping in, but we've kept it positive for the most part. We have, and that is what I like to hear. But I don't think I'm the only positive person online. That's for damn sure, especially in the Star Wars community. I think there's a lot of Star Wars content creators that are very positive. Yeah, for sure. Fearless says, as long as Lucasfilm themselves don't confirm that it's canceled, then there's still hope. I mean, yeah, for those people who want the Acolyte to be renewed for a second season, I would say that there's always still hope, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to say it. Down want new, and let's go away from the down want new. Let's go away from the Skywalkers. The Acolyte came out, new characters, new stories, and you dismiss it before it even airs? It makes no sense to me. Down want. Don't want new, maybe? I don't know what that means. Well, I like the prequel trilogy. I have aspects of them that I will pick apart, yet those who were younger when they saw the prequel trilogy love it more than the original trilogy. I will say I like the original trilogy more than the prequel trilogy, but I do like Revenge of the Sith more than the original trilogy. So, there you go. There you go. Matthew says, story should be first and foremost, not corporate culture. Disney's biggest mistake with the sequel trilogy was twofold. 2 years between films instead of 3, and throwing out George's storyline. Yes and no. Obviously, now, since the sequel trilogy has come out and people have learned about George Lucas's version of the sequel trilogy, it seems as though that would have been a better story to tell, but that's because the sequel trilogy didn't work out the way that fans wanted it to. In the first part, 2 years in between films instead of 3, I don't think that would have changed much, you know? I don't think so. Yeah, no? My son was 7 when he saw The Force Awakens, and now he puts it in his top 5. Why? Because it was my young son. Nostalgia. Yeah, I mean, nostalgia plays a huge role in everybody when it comes to Star Wars, especially. For sure. Oh, Sonny with a very generous $5 holla. What's up, Sonny? How you doing? Says, hi, Mike. You still owe me an impression. I'm still waiting for Crosshair. I thought I did Crosshair. Did I not do Crosshair? Maybe I didn't do Crosshair because it was too difficult, and I told you to give me another one. I think the same scenario is going to happen here then, Sonny, but I appreciate the $5 hello. I really do. Crosshair. Good soldiers follow orders. It's very nasally. Hang on a sec. Good soldiers follow. Oh, that's terrible. I apologize. But I tried. Yes. Indeed, I tried, Sonny. I appreciate it, though. Yeah. Yeah. It really wasn't both ways, so it's a false comparison. It was both ways. It was probably just majority one way, especially when it came to the Acolyte. It did go both ways. Like, people who really enjoyed the Acolyte were crapping on people for not liking it. That's for sure. There is both sides of the extreme when it comes to that. But yeah, no, it was definitely leaning more towards one way than the other, for sure. Yeah. Mark my words, the Acolyte will become a cult classic, much like Firefly became. I could see that. I could actually see that. Because the story in the Acolyte Season 1 is so good to me and to a lot of Star Wars fans. Like, I see so many people online having in their bios, like, hashtag save the Acolyte or hashtag renew the Acolyte. So I could see that. Like, a big portion of the Star Wars fandom just galvanizing behind the Acolyte for years and years to come. I could see it. Jared on TV, what's up, Jared? Says, Andor was worse as far as Andor fans, looking down on people who didn't enjoy it, Andor due to the lack of familiarity. Yeah, I would say that the fans of Andor were very much attacking the people who didn't like Andor. It was more so the opposite of the Acolyte, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Matthew says, we went through these fights between the prequel trilogy fans and the original trilogy fans over what was real Star Wars back then. It was childish then too. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you that it's not childish and not stupid, but it is still a problem. Fans saying that what they believe to be their favorite Star Wars is their true Star Wars, and if somebody else believes different, if somebody likes something else other than what they like, then they're not true Star Wars fans? Like, it doesn't even make sense. It literally doesn't make sense when you think about it. It doesn't at all. But that's the reality of what we're living in right now. Yeah. Absolutely. Some of my personal favorite movies are The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker when I first saw it in theaters. And at the time, I felt very bad for liking them because of the whole ball of hate. That is true. A lot of sequel fans were almost bullied into not liking the sequels because of the conversation around the sequels when they were being released. Yeah. For sure. Original trilogy fans totally gatekeep the younger kids. Really, teenagers really teenagers, and tried to kick them from the fandom. I was there. I was critical of the prequel trilogy, but I was never a gatekeeper for those who genuinely liked them. Yeah, there's always gatekeepers in the Star Wars fandom. The problem is we exist in the same Star Wars fandom as these people. So it's sort of the Star Wars fandom that we're sharing with these people. And that leads to there being a big problem in the Star Wars fandom. I'd like to say that I don't think I'm contributing to this problem, but maybe I am. I really have no idea. You know? Gatekeeping is never the answer. That's why if I liked The Acolyte and somebody didn't, I'm not going to stop them from being a Star Wars fan, or vice versa, for that matter. Got a bug bite on my hand, you know? It's really annoying. Just thought I'd let you guys know. Okay. The Acolyte is an anomaly. Sorry. There was negativity around the director, main actress, all this other stuff, and the hate and the review bombing. Disney couldn't continue as a result. Yeah, I don't disagree that Disney probably made the right decision for canceling The Acolyte because of just the conversation around the show, but I also still want more of Chimere. I also still want more of Osha and Venestra and Plagueis. So I'm torn, you know? I'm torn. MD says, I'm more upset about Disney appearing to give in to the hate than actually not getting to see a second season. Kind of. I mean, if you are a fan of The Acolyte, you could definitely see it that way. That clearly you lost. If you liked The Acolyte, you lost. And if you hated The Acolyte, you won. And that's not what we should be doing here. There should be no winners or losers when it comes to Star Wars. Let me propose a different question here. Is it possible ever for the Star Wars fandom to come back together? Now, before you quickly say no, because it sounds insane, there's so many Star Wars fans, like there's so many different sides of the extreme that it almost seems impossible. Is there any Star Wars projects in the history of Star Wars that have successfully done so already? And is there any upcoming Star Wars projects that have the ability to do so again? Let me put it this way. Like I mentioned, the Star Wars fans have been divided probably since the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. Does that mean that the Star Wars fandom was pretty united when it came to Empire and A New Hope? Was the Star Wars fandom united then? What about fast forward to, like, Revenge of the Sith? Nah, that's kind of a bad example. That's a bad example. Revenge of the Sith was very divided because fans didn't like Hayden Christensen's performances. That's a horrible example. I apologize. Let's go to a different one. The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian Season 2 specifically. Is The Mandalorian Season 2 the closest we've ever been to being a united Star Wars fandom? Now, even with The Mandalorian Season 2, there's some fans who are saying you can't rely on cameos. Luke Skywalker showing up, Boba Fett showing up, Bo-Katan showing up, Ahsoka Tano showing up. You can't rely on cameos. But I feel like that was a really, 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 really small percentage of the Star Wars fandom that were complaining about that. Rogue One, another great example. RG says in the chat, Rogue One came close. Rogue One, honestly, I don't remember seeing any hate for Rogue One online. None. Now, granted, my presence online was a lot smaller back in 2016, but I don't remember any. Interesting. What else? Ahsoka had its haters for sure. What about like Clone Wars Season 7? Well, Clone Wars Season 7 had those few episodes with Ahsoka and the Martinez sisters, which fans didn't like. It's really tough. Fans are very critical all over the place. Oh, Lee with a very generous super chat again, $5. My goodness, says, more shouting, Crazy Mike. You are the best, and your impressions are the best. I appreciate that. One of the most iconic key scenes where Palpatine tells Darth, you shall be Darth Vader, now rise. I believe it's, henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. No, that's horrible. Let me retry it. I'll do it. All right, here we go. let me get into my Palpatine. Unlimited power. No, here we go. All right. Henceforth, no, that's horrible. Hang on. I gotta hear it. I gotta hear it first. Hearing is believing. Okay, here we go. Palpatine. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth. Here we go. Hang on. What did he just say? Rewind it. Let me try that. Ready? I think that was pretty spot on. Okay, let's hear it.
Force is strong with you. A powerful Sith you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
That's deep. Okay, here we go. Henceforth, you shall be known. That's horrible. Hang on. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. That's not nearly low enough. Henceforth, you shall be known. No, wait, that's terrible. Let's hear it again.
Henceforth, you shall be known as...
Again, the computers are helping him. This isn't fair.
You shall be known as
You shall be known as the computer. It's not helping. Okay. I tried. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader. The pause is incredible. 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 All right, where was I? Shit. I think we lost a lot of the chat here from doing that. Sonny with a very generous $5 holla goddamn says, Star Wars superfans need to stop complaining about new material. Wait, what? No, need to stop complaining about and then shitting on the new material. Now, because they won't be getting a second season of The Acolyte. It's a big galaxy. I don't really know what you mean by that, but I think you're saying people who want new material are the ones who are complaining about the new material. And I agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah. But I appreciate it. You guys are feeling extra generous today. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay. Let me scroll back up here. Oh no, we lost so much of the chat. Okay. Here we go. Adam says, oh my God, every time you say something important, there's an ad. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I have no control over when the ads pop up on YouTube, but I apologize. Yeah. Dr. Necro says, if you want to solve the Star Wars extremists on both sides, that includes solving the real world problems of American politics and cultural divide. No. I completely disagree. I think it has nothing to do with it. Star Wars is supposed to be an escape from all of that. It's supposed to be an escape from politics. It's supposed to be an escape from your reality, your anxieties, your stresses of your day, of your everyday lives. Star Wars is supposed to be and was created to be an escape. That's what it is. It's supposed to teach you life lessons and themes of your life, like we mentioned before. But it's not supposed to continue to keep you in your reality. It's supposed to take you out of your reality. It's the exact opposite. So I don't think fixing the Star Wars fandom's issues is fixing the world's issues, because that's never going to happen. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Can't be an escape if half of Star Wars is about politics. Well, that's different, because that's Star Wars politics. So Star Wars politics is more evident of being good versus evil. Palpatine rising to power, he's obviously evil. He controls the galaxy. He's the emperor of the galaxy with the Empire. Clearly, he's evil. Yes, there are political aspects to Star Wars, but they're not the same as the political aspects of the real world. They're more extreme, as George Lucas created it to be. It's the same word in politics, but they're completely different in realities. Yeah. Thanks, Lee. I appreciate it. Adam says, you deserve way more subscribers than 80K. Well, I appreciate that, Adam, and hopefully someday we'll get to that. But as of right now, I'm quite satisfied with how far we've come. We were talking about this the other day. This time last year, Ahsoka was being released. Give me a 1 into the chat if you were with the channel when Ahsoka was being released. I'm going to see very little ones because we had about 2,000 subscribers, if even that, at this time last year. So from 2,000 to 80,000, I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. That's incredible. Yeah. Yeah. Catherine says, the beauty of Star Wars is it crosses so many generations. My children and grandchildren love to talk about Star Wars. Exactly. It's made for everybody in different generations. So the prequels were made for a different generation of kids. The sequels were made for a different generation of kids. Even shows now are made for a different generation of kids. By kids, I mean like teenagers and obviously us, because we're grown-ass adults and we're still watching Star Wars. Yeah, and talking about it on a daily basis. Like crazy people we are. Yeah. Yeah. Matthew says, it's a different world today. Kids don't ask their parents for the toys. Most playing video games on their tablets. It's quite a disposable culture. And stuff is permanent and remembered for like and stuff is permanent? Oh, and remembered for like 5 minutes. Yeah, something can be said about the attention span of kids and people just now in general. The quickness of our sort of input online. It's so fast. It's TikTok, scrolling through TikTok. It's Instagram Reels. It's YouTube Shorts. It's all that stuff just scrolling through. It's very, very quick. So much information is being thrown at everybody at all times. And honestly, it's something very, very new. I mean, TikTok's only been around for a couple of years. YouTube Shorts is something that's only been around for a year or two. Like, it's something extremely new. All this information being thrown at us at once, it's a lot. So people aren't really used to that. And yes, attention spans have gone down. Kids aren't really playing with toys anymore. They're more so playing video games and stuff. And not that that's a bad thing or a good thing. We don't know. But it's a whole conversation that's completely new. And we don't know sort of the ramifications of it. We don't know how it's going to affect anything. Honestly, we don't know how it's going to affect merchandise sales or box office reviews or anything like that. Because these kids are going to grow up, they're going to become adults, and they're going to not go see movies. They're going to only watch their screens. They're going to only play video games. It's interesting. It is very interesting. It's a brand new world we live in here. Think about it. The internet is a very new thing. If you think about it in the scope of the human existence, it's like a blink of an eye. So it's something extremely new, and we're still sort of learning what it actually is. YouTube it just celebrated its 15-year anniversary, something like that. Google. It was Google celebrating its 20th anniversary. I don't even know. I forget. 25th anniversary, something like that. I forget what it was, but it was a very short period of time. 20 years, whatever it may be. That's very, very short. So, and now with AI coming in like to the equation, like we have no idea what the future holds for not only Star Wars but the world itself. It's a very interesting conversation to have. Very. Not really Star Wars related. It does intertwine with Star Wars in some aspects, but yeah, it's a very interesting conversation to be had for sure. Sonny, my God, with a very generous $5 holla again says, "Hey Mike, give us your best Vice Admiral demoted to Captain Rampart." Oh, demoted to Rampart impression? Okay. Let's see. Vice Admiral Rampart. Let's see.
The recovered command log
This is when he gets arrested. Let's see it.
from Admiral Rampart's Venator, which indicates his own ships caused the destruction of Tipoca City.
Let's take a second. This is Bad Batch Season 2 when Palpatine comes up and is badass. This is underrated. This is the Star Wars politics we were just talking about that is the best. This is peak Star Wars. Peak Star Wars politics for sure, but peak Star Wars in general. This is Palpatine not fighting with a lightsaber, not using his Force lightning, but using his brain and his just pure awesomeness to best everybody. He comes in and absolutely destroys. But we're looking for a Vice Admiral Rampart impression here, aren't we? Bail Organa. You know what? You know what this really makes me? This makes me sad. This makes me extremely sad. I miss the Bad Batch. This is really giving me the reality of how much I miss the Bad Batch. The fact that it's over now, we're not looking for looking forward to more Bad Batch. Oh, this is devastating. Such a badass entrance. My God. All right, as much as I'd love to watch this, I'm looking for a Rampart impression. I don't think I'm going to find it in this video. Damn, sorry, guys. Okay, let me go back. These are all Rampart scenes.
Of his story. Do you think I'm lying?
you think I'm lying?
Yes. Once we reach the clearance codes, you can't expect to walk onto an Imperial station completely unnoticed.
You can't think you can walk onto an Imperial station completely unnoticed. Hang on.
But you can. And we'll be your security detail. You just walk us right onto the station.
You cannot be classified. If you have an issue with that, Lieutenant, then contact Governor Tarkin.
If you have an issue with that, Lieutenant, take it up with Tarkin. I don't know. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think that's the best I got with when it comes to Rampart. I appreciate it. I really, really do, Sonny. It's very, very generous. Okay. Darth Thor says, you and Star Wars fanatics are the future of Star Wars creators. I'd love to see you two collab. Interesting. I am going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't know who that is. Let's look him up, though. Star Wars fanatics. Oh, I have seen him before. I'm actually already subscribed. Whoop, that was loud. I'm actually already subscribed to him. Cool. Cool. Okay. Maybe I'll hit him up. Okay, where was I? I got wrapped up in the prequel hate. I was a little young and dumb. There you go. Acceptance takes maturity sometimes. Well, okay, there's the thing. You were once somebody who was crapping on other people for liking the prequel trilogy. That's what's going on right now, just in other aspects of the Star Wars universe. So if you could do it, anybody could do it. Aside from Resistance, which I have not seen yet, I find something in every Star Wars project that I really enjoy, regardless the order of preference. There's parts in The Last Jedi that are epic and creative. I actually agree with that. There's parts of there's parts of every Star Wars project that I can find enjoyment in. Again, I haven't seen Resistance, so I could not tell you that, but even The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, especially The Force Awakens, I can find aspects of those movies that I really enjoy. Visually, both of those movies are extremely good. Actually, I think some of John Williams' best work is the soundtracks to those movies, especially Rey's theme and Kylo's theme. But there's some really, really cool, visually stunning scenes in those movies. Absolutely. For sure. Darth Thor says, maybe not 100% of the fandom can get back together, but maybe like 80 to 90% of the fans can be together. All right, so we talked about what Star Wars projects made fans come back together, like The Mandalorian Season 2 finale, or like possibly even The Force Awakens or Rogue One. But what Star Wars projects on the horizon could possibly bring the Star Wars fandom back together? The Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Depends on if it's good enough. I'll put it that way. If it's good enough. Yeah. What about like Ahsoka Season 2? Ahsoka Season 1 didn't do that, though. There was still a huge divide. And you can't even say Andor Season 2 because Andor was met with such crazy divide in the Star Wars fandom. Insane. Andor, bricks and screws. Like, it was a never-ending 12-week cycle, or I guess it was less than 12 weeks, but it was a very long Andor run because people were just crapping all over it. So what is the next Star Wars project that could bring Star Wars fans back together? Honestly, I don't know if there is one. That's the issue here. That's the problem that we're trying to find a solution to, the problem that we're trying to fix today. And I don't think there is one. I think Skeleton Crew is going to come out, and I think it's going to be met with a crazy divide in the Star Wars fandom. I think Andor Season 2 is going to be met with the same bricks and screws as Season 1. I think Ahsoka Season 2 is going to be met with the same divisive Star Wars fandom as Season 1. And I think the Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be a success. It will make billions of dollars, but there's going to be some fans that don't like it. There's some fans that didn't like Season 3. There's some fans that didn't like Season 2. There's some fans that didn't like Season 1. It is interesting. It is interesting. In Ahsoka Season 2 news, we talked about it earlier this week, but Natasha Liu Bordizzo confirmed that production for Season 2 and filming for Season 2 will start next summer, which is very, very cool, but that means it won't come out until probably after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie in 2026. And for Andor Season 2, it will come out in early 2025. We don't know when. It could be as early as like February, but it also could be as late as June. And it will most likely be the only live-action Star Wars project in 2025, which is crazy. But I'm assuming we're going to get an animated show announced at Star Wars Celebration next year in April, and that will probably be the other project in 2025. But 2025 might be a very slow year for Star Wars content. 2026 might be a massive year, as there's going to be 2 movies, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and the Rey movie, but also Ahsoka Season 2, and maybe even an animated show there too. So 2026 might be a massive year, but 2025 might be a slower year. I'm really, really excited for Skeleton Crew, to be honest. Okay, let's see what on a scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you, chat, for Skeleton Crew? It's getting closer. We're about now September, October, November. It starts in December, so we're about 3 months away now. 3 months away. How excited are you for Skeleton Crew? Where are we at? And while you're at it, can we get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? 5 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 5.5, 10 out of 10. Wow. 8, a million out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, a big fat 0. Oh my God. I'm beginning to get excited for Skeleton Crew. Nice. 8 to 9. 9. All right, so we got some excitement. Some people are like, kinda. And some people are like, no. I feel like there's just not enough information about the show to get me like at a 9 out of 10. I'm probably around a 7.5, maybe 8 on a good day. But I need another trailer, something. I need something more to kind of just get me really, really hyped up for this show, because I think it could be really good. Yeah, I do. I think the fact that we know so little gives me hope that there might be some very big surprises coming our way. Yeah. In other news, 6 days from today is LEGO Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. So this What If series featuring Jedi Bob and Darth Jar Jar and an all-white suit of Darth Vader, this whole LEGO adventure, that comes out. It's a 4-part thing on Disney Plus. That comes out in 6 days. Next Friday, that comes out. So that's something to look forward to. Other Star Wars news? This is pretty cool. Let me see if you guys saw this. Next week, Ewan McGregor, who plays, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor will be getting his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And guess who's giving a speech? Hayden Christensen is giving a speech at Ewan McGregor's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony next week. That is awesome. So, some really good Star Wars news. Not only is Ewan getting a star on the Walk of Fame, but also Hayden Christensen is going to give a speech. And the coolest part about this is it's being live streamed. And guess when it's being live streamed? Exactly when we have a live stream scheduled for Tuesday of next week. It happens on Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, which means 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is exactly when we have our live stream on Tuesday. So we can watch the Ewan McGregor getting his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and Hayden Christensen's speech live on Tuesday. So that's some good news in the Star Wars universe as well. There was something else I wanted to talk about too. Oh, the lightsaber. So yeah, I got this lightsaber gifted to me so generously by the people over at Art Sabers. This thing is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It has so many different settings, and it's so skinny. I don't understand how they put all this stuff in it, but I want to show you guys, because I want to show you guys, okay? I just want to show you guys. I'll give you a little sneak peek at this, shall we? So you got to put that thing in there. Then we got to turn it on, first of all. Hang on. It has so many different characters, so many different settings. We won't go through them all, but I just want to show you how sick it is. I just want to show you how cool it is. I want you to show me. Okay. Sorry. Got distracted. Turn it on.
Power on.
Power on. Here we go. Who's our first character here?
Master Windu.
Master Windu. I mean, come on. Listen to that thing. So this is obviously Mace Windu's. Purple blade. Pretty sick. If you wanted to see Anakin's lightsaber hilt with a purple blade, there you go. And then if you press this, it sounds like it's out of the Clone Wars. He's being shot by separatists. And it... Sorry. Mike, I love the unboxing video. It was great. Well, I appreciate that. That unboxing video is probably one of the funnest videos I've ever made. Like, some of the editing I did in that is something I'd never done before. It was really cool. Okay, but let's see who else was here.
I am told it is the dark saber.
Okay, the dark saber is my favorite one here. Listen to this. And it's white, of course, but it's got like hints of dark. And when you press this, it actually goes black. Flashes black. But listen to it first of all. Listen to that thing hum. And it sounds like Beskar when you do this. It sounds like it's hitting Beskar. It's so cool. Let's see who else we got in here.
Unstable blade.
Oh, wait, shit.
Master Mundi.
Master Mundi. Kiadi Mundi! The goat from the Acolyte show. Okay. General Kenobi. So some people were like, why is like Grievous's lightsaber this color? It's not Grievous's, it's Obi-Wan's. It's Grievous saying General Kenobi, but that's to signify that it's Obi-Wan's. Sounds so cool.
Quinlan Voss.
Quinlan Voss. That's pretty sick. Quinlan. I'm certainly hoping that we get to see some Quinlan at some point soon.
Reborn.
Reborn. I think this is Revan. Maybe. All right.
Temple Guard.
Temple Guard. Okay, so that's a different ignition that it has. Of course, the Temple Guard is yellow. But listen to this. That's pretty sick. Okay, I'm getting too excited. I'll put it away. I'll put it away, chat. We can talk about some other Star Wars stuff, but hang on, one more.
Star Killer.
Star Killer. I mean, come on. It doesn't get much cooler than this if you're a Star Wars fan. Art sabers, I mean, it's crazy. They have so many different lightsabers. Any character you want. Literally any character you want. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So, I'm trying to get art sabers here. If we can get to enough members, of course, on the channel, then we can start doing giveaways of lightsabers. And I'd love to do it with art sabers because they have some quality stuff here. And they have not only just lightsabers, but they have helmets too. So look at all these different characters on here. They have different variations of the characters' lightsabers. So like Anakin, there's not just one. They even got the episode 2 one from Attack of the Clones. But like every character has different ones. You got the Inquisitor, Grand Inquisitor, Kanan Jarrus even. His 2 variations there. But everybody. Mace Windu, Leia, Kenobi, Qui-Gon, even Terran Malicos. Oh, wait, what? Terran Malicos. Holy shit, that's sick. Okay. Let's see who else we got over here. Stellan Geo's from he's from the New Republic. They even got bad guys, Darth Revan. Of course, all these. Ahsoka, Ezra, Baylan Skoll. Baylan Skoll, that's pretty sick. Okay. But then they also have helmets. Now, this is kind of interesting to me. I want some helmets. Of course, I got Boba Fett's helmet behind me, but I want more. They got Vader. They got Revan. They got Mando. They got Commander Cody. They got Stormtrooper, of course. Kylo Ren. The Armorer. Mando again. You can get Mando and the Darksaber in a bundle. Kylo Ren and his lightsaber in a bundle. Enoch from Ahsoka, which is sick. Held together by gold. That's so swaggy. Captain Rex. Boba Fett. Scout Trooper honestly looks really cool. I love the Scout Trooper look. TIE Fighter Pilot. Gar Saxon looks so sweet. the Mandalorian helmet, the Praetorian Guard, Bo-Katan. They look so sick. Death Trooper. Oh my god. Clone helmet. Sabine. You got Ahsoka's Stormtrooper. Moff Gideon's helmet. I mean, come on. It's so sick. So if you're looking for a lightsaber or a helmet, and like they got some crazy deals, buy one, get two free. Like, come on. That's insane. So go check them out. For sure. Go check them out. And hopefully at some point we'll when we get big enough and have enough members, so join and become a member, you get instant access to giveaways at the end of every month. And hopefully at some point the giveaways will become lightsabers like this. Ventress. Oh, that's so good. Come on. That is the problem. Starchip66 says, I love the helmets. I want so many. I want all of them. That's my issue, is if I had unlimited money, I want unlimited money because I would just buy all that shit. It's so cool. Yeah. So that's my issue, is I look at all that and I'm like, I want every last one of it. That's the problem. Yeah. That's definitely the problem. Oh, another Mike who loves Star Wars with a very generous $2 holla says, just be like Mike and love Star Wars. Fixed. There you go, Mike. Great name, by the way. And yeah, just be like Mike and like Star Wars or love Star Wars. Fixed. Boom. That's not always as simple as it may be. Sonny with another generous $5 holla. You guys are so ridiculously generous today. You're going to make a grown man cry. Sonny says, not the Acolyte that seems like Disney candy corn. We need something like the Bad Batch or Rebels type to bring back fans. I disagree with the Skeleton Crew comment, though, because I think many people are under the wrong impression when it comes to Skeleton Crew. They think it's some kid show. It's not really what it is. It's going to be an action adventure in the Mandoverse. It's going to have the feeling of The Mandalorian, just with these new characters. And Jude Law coming in as a possible Jedi, but maybe not even a Jedi, maybe a dark side user. Sounds very intriguing to me. Very intriguing today. To me, sorry. Yeah. But I appreciate it. Super chats, memberships, keep the lights on over here. If you are not yet a member, you can join in the description below. Join the people who love Star Wars. You get the awesome introductory song, and it's only 99 cents, and you get instant access to giveaways at the end of every month. We're coming up on the end of the month in a couple weeks, so watch out for that. And Discord. There's a free Discord in the description below to the people who love Star Wars. Go join that Discord. We got over 200 people now in there. Amazing Star Wars fans like yourselves. So go join it. Okay. Lee says, I have 17 helmets to go with my 50-plus sabers. Oh my god. That's insane. That's a lot of sabers and helmets. Holy shit. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Holy crap. Mike, my brother bought Star Wars Outlaws. That's awesome. Star Wars Outlaws was a fun-ass game. Yeah, it was. Can you shout for the rest of the stream? No. As much as I'd love to shout, why did I put that cup back over there? I'm drinking out of it. As much as I love to shout, it does, like, get rid of my voice. So I need my voice for the rest of the day, sadly. Yeah. Sonny, oh my God. Sonny. Somebody else send a super chat so that Sonny's not wasting all of her money. I appreciate it, Sonny. Says, Mike, do you think that we will get a live-action Omega? If so, do you think that we will see Omega with Hera or Ahsoka? Yes and yes. I think we will see a live-action Omega at some point. And if we do see her, it would likely be with either Hera or Ahsoka. Most likely Hera, because she has the connection to Hera from the Bad Batch Season 1 when they met. But she also, at the end of Bad Batch Season 3, goes to join the Rebellion. Goes to join as a pilot, join the Rebellion. So, Yes, I do think we'll see Omega in live action, hopefully either in Skeleton Crew or in Ahsoka Season 2. If not, I really don't know where we would see her. But yeah, hopefully right alongside of Hera Syndulla as well. Indeed. We need a live action KOTOR series. Yeah. I mean, yeah. John Groom says, can you get the Ahsoka sabers in a box that Anakin gave to her before the Siege of Mandalore? I have no idea. I must say, though, that Anakin lightsaber came in this crazy Art Sabers case. It says, may the Force be with you on the back. It's heavy duty. It's got a handle on it. You can bring it into work. It's a suitcase. It's got like these clips on it. It's crazy. It's crazy how like professional this is. I was not expecting it. It came with white gloves so they don't get fingerprints on it. I was like, fuck that. I'm getting my fingerprints on this thing. But it's crazy. It's crazy. You ordered a Captain Rex helmet? That's awesome, Sonny. That is so awesome. Sonny, if you are not in the Discord, go join the Discord and send a picture of that Rex helmet when it comes to you. I want to see that thing. It looks so cool online. Will we ever be able to wait? You only ever seem to be able to get the katana saber for Ahsoka. Well, let's see what their options are for Ahsoka. They got them all. They got Ahsoka's from Ahsoka, the series, and from Rebels, but they also got her Clone Wars ones. They got the young and the new, the old and the new. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. What? Where did this go? Oh, there we go. Lee says, I just bought another lightsaber. Can you believe that I have 50 plus? That's insane. I didn't have Yoda's? Wow, that is crazy. I still wonder if Luke, Leia, and Han will show up in any of these movies in Mando or Filoni's film. That's a good question. What do we think, chat? Do you think Luke, Leia, and Han will be involved in this Mandoverse possibly trilogy that's coming up? What do we think? I hope so. Now, I don't think they'll be main characters, but I do hope that they'll be involved in the story in some sort of way. But what do we think, chat? Actually, let's end this poll and let's start up a new one. By the way, 73% of you do think that the Star Wars fandom needs fixing, which is a problem, but let's see. Do you think Luke, Leia, and Han will be involved with the Mando possible trilogy? Yes or no? What do we think? What do we think? Oh, okay. Fearless says, no, I'm getting tired of Luke, Leia, and Han. That's crazy. I don't think I could ever get tired of Luke, Leia, and Han. I want more. I want a full-on 7-season animated show of Luke, Leia, and Han. I want more of them in live action. Yeah. I think Luke may show up briefly. Interesting. But no Luke, no Leia, and Han. What about Ben Solo? What about a young Ben Solo? I hope that Sebastian Stan's Luke pops in a movie, but not in a superhero way. I don't think they would recast him at this point. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they would. I'm sick of Luke, Leia, and Han. Oh my God. This poll is 50-50 right now. That is crazy. Huh. The more you know. The more you know. Andy K says, I want to see Quinlan as a Lakota. I really want more indigenous actors in Star Wars, and I feel like everyone else has their people in it. Yeah, I mean, if Quinlan was to come into live action, you'd have to be an indigenous person. Like that's who his character is. You know? Universal, what's up? Recast or CGI though? Okay, that's the follow-up question then. If Luke, Leia, and Han are to be in this possible Mando trilogy, would they be CGI'd? I mean, not CGI'd. Would they be recast or deepfaked? I am still firmly on the full-on deepfake bandwagon. I do not think that they should recast Luke, Leia, and Han. I do think they should recast certain other characters, like Balin Skoll, but I would way rather it be deepfaked. For a few reasons. One, they've already done it with Luke successfully. They just did it with Anakin very successfully in Ahsoka as well. So they're getting better at the deepfake, but I feel as though it would just feel way off. Paulie Paul says, where do I go to join the Discord? There's a link in the description below. So if you just click on the description of this live stream, or any of my videos for that matter, there's 2 links. One to become a member, and one to join the Discord. So you just click on the Discord one. Yeah. Yeah. Team Deepfake, CGI. Randy says, keeping longing for some of old is what makes Disney Plus not what it makes new stuff and takes risk. Of course, those 3 are legendary and brought life to Star Wars, but the galaxy is bigger than that, bigger than just those characters. I agree with this, Randy, but I still believe, because of where this takes place in the timeline with Mando, if you're going to do the Heir to the Empire, you can't do it without Luke, Leia, and Han. I agree with you that they need to take risks and go to different places in the Star Wars timeline, but if you are going to do a Mandoverse trilogy, you have to involve Luke, Leia, and Han. They just can't not be involved in that part of a massive war, especially if he is a big threat, like a really big threat. Yeah, so I agree with you. After the Mando trilogy, you should go anywhere else in the timeline, Dawn of the Jedi, Old Republic, High Republic, post-sequel trilogy, wherever, with new characters. But it's always good to see an old reliable every once in a while. Amanda says, deepfake just looks so wrong to me. They deepfaked a character in Alien Romulus, and it was just weird. It depends on how good it looks. Like, Luke in Book of Boba Fett is incredible. Anakin in Ahsoka, oh my God. So it depends on how good it looks. That's absolutely true. If it takes you out of the scene, then it's a problem. Tarkin in Rogue One, Leia in Rogue One, like there's really good examples of it and there's some bad. But if it's good, then it works. Yeah. Fearless says, I'd rather watch 3 seasons of a Rex, Hux, and Phasma, a much more fun trio. I'm not opposed to getting more sequel content, but a Rex, Phasma, and Hux show, I don't know if that would draw many eyes. That's for sure. Yeah. Where's everybody from? Where's everybody from in the chat today? Where's everybody tuning in from? The US of A? California, nice. I want more of the more of Zori Bliss. She was cool and she was so badass. There was some really cool, interesting characters brought in the sequel trilogy. We'll put it that way. Because I think they were underutilized. I feel like there's a lot more story to that character of Zori Bliss, but there's also some really interesting characters like Babu Frick that were introduced, that even side characters like that are interesting. And that's why I think it needs like a Clone Wars-esque series to dive more into, like a Maz Kanata. Maz Kanata we need more story about. She's too interesting and cool of a character, you know? Yeah, I know. If Abeloth comes into the fray, Luke has to join because he has to be the one who stops her. It's going to take him, the witches, Thrawn, and everyone else. That's true. If Abeloth comes into the equation before the sequel trilogy, then Luke, Leia, and Han definitely need to be involved. And Luke and Leia, technically Leia is still a Force user. She could help in the destruction of Abeloth, which would be amazing. Yeah. What did I miss? A lot. I imagine them being together in Cantina or the Millennium Falcon in episode 7. Hope, A New Hope half copy? What? Movie? Oh, you're talking about them all being together in the sequel trilogy. Yeah, it was a big missed opportunity to not have the original trio not be in the same sequel trilogy. Or the same scene in the sequel trilogy, I should say. It was a big missed opportunity. It was like right there. So I feel like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, as they've been giving fans what they want, usually, then they will not miss out on the opportunity to bring us Luke, Leia, and Han all on screen at the same time for the first time since 1983. Yeah. Aaron says, I'm okay with deepfakes if it's for a brief appearance. If they're going to do a major scene, then recast. If they're going to be main characters, then yes, recast. But I don't think they will be. I think they'll be side characters. So Book of Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker was probably in this episode for 20, 30 minutes, and that worked. So I think if it's going to be them being the main characters for a 2.5-hour movie, then yes. But probably not. Probably won't be the case. We'll see Luke, but the other two are done, only mentioned. Interesting. That comes into the conversation because, of course, Carrie Fisher has sadly passed away. So they probably don't want to bring her back in that way. I don't know. It's interesting. It is very interesting. Scotland, nice. New York, Alabama, UK, Virginia, all over the place. All over the place. I don't remember Luke playing a role in the Thrawn books, so why should he be in the Mando movies? The Thrawn canon books or the Thrawn Heir to the Empire series? Because he's a major role in the Heir to the Empire series. But the Thrawn canon books, no, he's not even like around yet. It's before his time. Oh, got a cut on my face and I just scratched it. Dang it. Gonna probably start bleeding. Well, from a certain point of view, we could just get Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, starting to get older, and just a male Mark Hamill looking younger then. What? When we get beyond the time he has to die, it's just Mark Hamill. They'd still have to deepfake him because he would be a lot younger than he is now. I thought Harrison was amazing as younger Indiana Jones in Dial of Destiny, but his older voice and the way that he moved gave it away. But they have the ability to change his voice now. So, I don't know. I'm still team deepfake because I think proven with Anakin in Ahsoka last year and Luke in the Book of Boba Fett the year before, they've proven that they have the ability to do that. And it's only getting better, the technology, every single year. Think about that. Rogue One was in 2016, and we got Tarkin and Leia. Yeah. Randy says, surely they are going to be in the movies, but they have to find / get new fans with new characters, like Mando and Grogu. It's necessary to see new lovable characters so fandoms can grow up. That's absolutely true. And they've done a pretty good job of that. Like, there's a bunch of brand new great characters like Din and Grogu. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to depend on going back to those OG characters, but it's nice to see a familiar face every once in a while. By the way, almost 60% of you guys now say yes, you do want Luke and Leia and Han to be involved in the Mando trilogy. Interesting. Did I say Kylo Ren? Did I say Kylo Rex? I must have combined him with Hux. Utah, Denmark, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Oh my God, we're all over the place. Your cousin won his game? Nice. Anakin in Ahsoka was not deepfaked, really. It really was. The actor was actually there. They just made him look younger, unlike Luke, who was deepfaked his face with a similar actor. Yes and no. Yes, Anakin was Hayden Christensen in the Ahsoka series, but they did deepfake his face. It was Hayden under the face, but it was still deepfaked. In Book of Boba Fett, it was two actors that brought Luke to life. A younger kid who looks like Mark Hamill when he was younger, and Mark Hamill himself. Mark Hamill does the scenes. They combine his performance with the other kid's performance, and they deepfake Luke Skywalker's face onto it. Yeah. If that made sense. Yeah. I want to do more prequel stuff. Hayden has barely aged. It is probably a lot easier to deepfake Hayden than it is Mark, because Mark's a lot older than he's supposed to be deepfaking too, and Hayden's less so. Like, what's Mark Hamill 6? How old's Mark Hamill? Hang on. How old is... Guys, I am not even lying to you. I typed in how old is Mark Hamill's number 1. Look at this. And it's not like a previous search. That's crazy. Okay. Sorry. How old's Mark Hamill? He's 72. And how old's Hayden? So you're deepfaking a 43-year-old to a 22-year-old versus a 72-year-old to a 25-year-old or whatever it is. So it's a very big difference. Very big. Yeah. I've been a Leia fan for 44 years. I'd be into a new actor to honor Carrie Fisher's performance. I don't get why others don't see it as a beautiful passing on of the legacy. It doesn't need to be that deep, or they don't need to do the deepfakes. I understand that, like passing the torch type deal. But I think like Leia's story's already been told. She already died in The Rise of Skywalker. So there's a little bit of a gap in between there from the originals to the sequels where you can get a little bit of Leia. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And you don't need to need to recast the character to do that. You can just deepfake her. Yeah, no? I'm going to end this poll. Let's end that poll. All right, there was something else. Oh, we already talked about that, reducing the output. Oh, yeah, this. So, okay, so this is talking about a possible villain for the Rey movie. Because the Rey movie has a lot riding on it, as it is the extension of the sequel trilogy. A lot of fans have their own very strong opinions about the sequel trilogy and about the character of Rey. So Rey, although her movie is going to come out in December of 2026, or most likely going to come out in December of 2026, there's no real plot, at least yet revealed to us, the fans, about who could be the villain, what this movie is going to be about. All we know, it's going to be 15 years after the events of the sequel trilogy, and Rey's going to have her new Jedi Order. That's it. We don't know what the current state of the galaxy looks like. We don't know if the new Republic is in charge. We don't know who the bad guy is going to be. But this article right here does give a pretty cool theory as to who could be the next villain in the Rey movie. Now, before we read this, who do you guys want to be the villain of the Rey movie? Let's hear it, chat. What do we think? What do we think? Thrawn? But Thrawn's already going to be the villain of this Heir to the Empire stuff. You think he's going to somehow survive the sequel trilogy? I don't think so. Darth Rey. Rey going Darkseid would be pretty good. Yeah. Rey going Darkseid would be pretty cool. Yeah. Too late for Thrawn. It would be probably too late for Thrawn. I think Thrawn's probably going to die in this Mando stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Abeloth. Abeloth would be crazy. If they do Abeloth correctly too with the Rey movie, it would be insane. Chopper for the villain. Or what if Abeloth takes over Rey's body? That would be insane. Chopper for the villain? That's hilarious. Dark Rey, bring in Finn. Ooh, to perhaps bring her back to the light. That would be cool. Finn being the bad guy would be crazy. Did they say the time period of the Rey movie? Yeah, it's 15 years after the events of the sequel trilogy. So 15 years after Palpatine's gone for reals this time. Kylo Ren's dead. Luke's dead. Leia's dead. Han's dead. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's do it then. Let's read this, because this is pretty interesting. The Sith rule of two is a lie. Chilling Star Wars theory that reveals the Jedi foe could return in the possible upcoming Rey movie. An exciting Star Wars theory has raised the possibility of the Sith rule of two being a lie, potentially giving the dark side the chance to return, as the Sith, all the Sith, Palpatine was all the Sith at the end of Rise of Skywalker, have become extinct. The Sith have mostly been explored thanks to Palpatine's backstory in Star Wars, with the Skywalker saga focusing on his attempt to build a Sith empire, thanks to the efforts of Star Wars' most powerful Jedi like Anakin, Luke, and Rey Skywalker. Palpatine was defeated at multiple points before being banished for good in Rise of Skywalker. With the announcement of the upcoming Star Wars movie taking place 15 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker, theories have been crafted about which villains Rey's new Jedi Order will be facing. The Sith are supposedly gone, potentially allowing a main Star Wars movie to move beyond the iconic villains of the Jedi for the first time since 1977. However, a recent theory surrounding the rule of two has indicated that the concept may have been a lie, giving the Sith another chance to spread the evil throughout the galaxy. So what does this come from? Darth Bane, of course, is the one who established the rule of two 1,000 years ago. So 1,000 years before the Phantom Menace, he established the rule of two. This is Darth Bane right here. This is the appearance we see him in the Clone Wars when Yoda goes to talk to him. But he looked a lot different than this when he was alive. He put the rule of two into place because he believed that all these Sith roaming around the galaxy were sort of diluting the power of the dark side. It was being spread too thin across the entire galaxy. So he put the rule of two into place because then you'd only have two people in the entire galaxy, and all the dark side force would be focused on these two beings. But that's kind of what we just talked about, so we will skip over that. The Acolyte Sith didn't fit into Palpatine's line. Despite many Sith lords, such as Palpatine, Vader, Dooku, and Maul, following the Sith rule of two and all the backstabbing glory, there have been some recent Star Wars characters that mark some interesting changes. These characters in question came in the Acolyte, specifically the Stranger / Chimere and Osha. By the time of the Acolyte's ending, Chimere had become Osha's Sith master, and the two were committed to training in the ways of the dark side around 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace. Another interesting inclusion in the Acolyte was Darth Plagueis, the mysterious Sith master of Palpatine. While Plagueis and Palpatine fit the line of the rule of two by being a major Sith in the Skywalker saga, Osha and Chimere don't fit this storyline. Well, the cancellation of the Acolyte means more will not be revealed about Chimere's connection to Plagueis. The show depicted it as if the former did not know of the latter, and Plagueis was looking at Chimere as a Sith pretender rather than his former student. Actually, this is not true. So this was confirmed by Leslie Headland herself that Plagueis is the master to Chimere. So this is not what's going on here. Although it is a theory, it is not what's truly going on. Because yes, there is more than two here, with Osha being the third, but she's an acolyte of the Sith. She's not yet an apprentice of the Sith. So this is not yet true, but this is still a theory that could be possible. Did Darth Bane set up a multiple fractions for the Sith? The inclusion of other Sith like Chimere and Osha now leads to an interesting theory that Darth Bane created multiple fractions of the Sith when he established the rule of two. After all, Bane was cunning and realized that the Sith could not operate as a giant group like the Jedi without fighting against one another. Hang on. Okay. Fighting against one another. As such, Bane created the rule of two, but who is to say that he did not pass the rule on to many Sith apprentices or masters, creating different factions of the Sith? Also, this could mean that there could be different sort of Sith beings out in the galaxy somewhere stowed away, maybe in the unknown regions, maybe hidden somewhere else. We don't know. But let's get to this. Could another Sith faction still exist after Rise of Skywalker? With this theory in mind, it could be the case that a different faction of Sith could still exist after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. It remains the case that Palpatine and his line of the Sith were destroyed, but another faction could rise up into their place, potentially posing a threat in the story of Rey's New Jedi Order movie. This would certainly be an intriguing development and could offer new Star Wars a way to explore the Sith once more in a different light with than the franchise has done before. So, with that being said, would this be something that you would be interested in? A different faction of Sith, in Star Wars for the new Rey movie. What do we think, Chad? What do we think? Honestly, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no for a few reasons. I think the Sith can return in a post-sequel world. Yes, Palpatine might have been all of the Sith, but the dark side's not going to go away. Some young kid is probably going to happen upon some Sith relic and become a Sith Lord. That's more likely than what's the reality here, or what's the theory here, and that is that the Sith are just some different fraction. I think the more likely scenario is that the Jedi have different splinter orders or factions, and that there's a different Jedi Order out there in the galaxy that's being built alongside of Rey's. And we could see a familiar face be creating that order. Maybe Ahsoka has her own order. Maybe Ezra has his own order. Maybe Cal Kestis has his own order. Maybe Grogu has his own order. Like, there could be a different Jedi Order out there somewhere that isn't Rey's in this movie. And maybe those two Jedi Orders are different, and maybe those two Jedi can fight against each other. Jedi versus Jedi instead of Jedi versus Sith that we've seen so many times before. But tell me what you think in the chat. That's not something new. It's already been done in Legends. That's true. Yeah. So, Mike, who's dying in Star Wars tonight then? Have I not made my death prediction yet? Have I not done that yet? I actually don't have one today. I don't know. No, I'm good. I got nothing. Sonny with another very generous $5 holla. God damn. Says, I think that Chimere and Osha's offspring or descendants would be perfect villain for the Rey movie. And it would tie up everything to the prequel trilogy. That's an interesting theory, actually. If Chimere and Osha were to have a child, and that child becomes a dark side user, the only problem is that kid would not be still alive by the time of the Rey movie. So they would have to continue to have more kids that would continue to be more villainous. I don't know. It's an interesting theory, though. Indeed. Melissa, what's up? I'm doing good. How are you? You'd be far better to explore an order that attempts to balance themselves from both aspects of the Force. Yeah, like a Grey Jedi type of order. That would be pretty interesting. Baylan Skoll could have a new Sith order. That would be interesting. Well, he would be more the Abeloth route, because Abeloth could come into power, too. Abeloth is a dark side being, but she's not a Sith Lord. Yeah. That is true. Chimere / Smilo Ren may not be a Sith. I think he was rejected by the Jedi and the Sith. Maybe. There is interesting because Leslie Headland did confirm that there was a connection between Chimere and Kylo Ren, and we never really got that explained, you know? Derek says, the best option is to wipe the Acolyte and recognize it was the most expensive fan production ever made. That is definitely not the best option. No way. Because with that, Derek, then you're just angering the fans who liked the show. Honestly, when it comes to the Acolyte, you're not going to win either way. There's a portion of the fandom that likes it, there's a portion of the fandom that hates it, and there's a portion of the fandom that's in between, as with most things. I think with the Acolyte, it's more just emphasized. Yeah. You just said wipe the Acolyte, though. I can still enjoy it if it doesn't exist. Yeah, no? We need more Chimere for sure. I definitely want more Chimere. That's for damn sure. It would just not be canon, but what's the point in that? You know? How is making that show not canon change anything? Takes place 100 years before anything. Most people fall between the most things. Wait, most people fall between on most things. The loudest voices are just heard on both sides of the extremes. I would agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Did it pass 70,000? Really? 70,000 signatures. There you go. For the Rey movie, we will need the Force to react to Palpatine being finally gone in the galaxy. Darkseid is always there somewhere. Yeah, that would be interesting too. Because I want them to explore the fact that Rey is a Palpatine. I want her to go down a dark path. A Grey Order would be interesting. It would. It for sure would. Holy crap, we've been going for over 2 hours. Damn, time flies. Okay, I am going to have to get on out of here. I really have to pee, but also I got to get on out of here. Huge shout outs to Sonny for winning the lottery again or something. Another Mike who loves Star Wars. Great name. Lee, Rose, Darth Plagueis lives. I appreciate all of you guys so much for the very generous super chats. I appreciate all you guys in the chat so much more than you will ever know. Thank you guys for 79,000 subscribers. Absolutely insane. If you want to talk more about Star Wars for the rest of your lives, go join the Discord in the description below. It's a very fun place to be, so go join that. Yeah, I think we got some pretty productive stuff going on today. Huh? I think we solved something. Yeah. So smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. Hit that subscribe. Hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. I'll show up the recommended feed of yours. How many likes we got on the stream? Oh, okay, we got a pretty good amount. But smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. And I appreciate you guys. And yeah, may the Force be with you. Always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Thank you guys for 79,000 subscribers. Next up is 80,000, and we are on the road to 100K, where I will be dumping that entire cup of water on my head as promised. And we'll probably be doing a huge giveaway as well. So yeah, until then, I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody. Whew.